to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and come keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot. So I do want to stay in the call. Where are we? Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twadwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mel's 24, Unimento, M, Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKinn, and Retro Bill, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show. Nobody's here, so I'm going to talk about microphones.
Yeah, I just lost track of time.
You lost track of time?
Yeah, I'm up and I have it on waiting for you to drop the link, but I started doing things and totally lost track of time.
You're not obliged to be here, Neil.
Yeah, but I like to be here.
Ah, fair enough.
Where's everybody else?
What, like the whole of mankind? I can't account for everyone, Neil. That's just beyond my abilities.
Oh, jeez, now my phone is black. Oh, anyway. Well, they got to get their asses in here. We know what's at stake.
What, me talking about microphones if they don't? Is that what's at stake?
It's funny because I'm just going through things, and I see in Discord that Elder Bear had sent me like a ton of messages going back to just a couple of weeks ago, how you were in cahoots with AJ starting the Muslim channel.
What? Who?
For money to line your pockets. Oh my God, he's crazy, this guy.
What? The
Elder
Muslim
Bear.
channel? What's he talking about?
Yeah, the guy AJ.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
Remember AJ, the moderator from what do you call it? 24/7
Australian guy, right?
Yeah. Remember he was telling you one time that he was setting up a Muslim what do you like room for the guys that are Muslims. So Elder Bear's claiming that you're part of that. It's to line your pockets. I don't know, it's crazy. I'll send you the message.
Okay then. Sounds bonkers.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, don't say I didn't warn you.
Sounds bonkers.
Yeah, they're nuts. Everybody's nuts. I've been getting messages like that since I joined Flat Earth Debate. Anyway, what about mics? What do you got?
Usual. I sold several today, which is always nice. One was quite expensive. So people don't know how to sell stuff, so they sell it too cheap, and then people are put off by it. So they look at it and something must be wrong with it. So I just contact the person selling it and ask them a few questions, and then offer them an even lower price than they've already got it on for. That's what it's all about. I feel bad, but at the same token, every time I bring it up, someone's like, yeah, that's business. That's brilliant. Well done. You're like, what? Okay, great. But then on the other end, somebody bought it today. That one that was an example like that is. And a mic that somebody's got for sale too cheap. I've purchased it even cheaper and then sold it for the correct price. So someone's very happy that they've got something that's from the 1980s that works, because the person who was selling it has kept it in nice condition, which is always great. And they can't freaking believe they're, buying it for the price I'm selling it. I'm like, I'm making a profit. You're delighted to get it for that price. Great. Everyone's happy. Like, if it is what you say it is, I'll be back and I'll buy the other one. I'm like, I just took it out because they're all right behind me. They're really small mics, are really easy to stash, which is great. Because I just pulled it out from behind me and took a picture of it. Went, here's the other one. It's like, what do you mean if it is what you say it is? Like, yeah, it is. It's a Mark 1 C1000S. Here's its sister, if you want it. I thought, shall I put my cheeky face next to it with a big thumbs up? But I thought, no, because that's almost like insulting. But yeah, because it's the wild, wild west on eBay. People are so used to getting ripped off. That's why I've been successful instantly, right? People are used to getting ripped off, buying crap that doesn't work. So by just showing it working, like making a little video, which is my raison d'etre, right? It's my reason for living. So making a video of a mic working, woohoo! I'm down for that. So I'll just make a video of the mic working and publish it with the ad. And people will be like, right, that's what it sounds like. It is working. And it is the product I want because I've researched it. I'll buy it. And I'll pay the going rate, which is all I charge. I'm not like overcharging for anything. I just charge the going rate. But I buy it cheap. That's the way I do things anyway. And I make a good advert. So although I'm only charging the going rate, I'll make a nice advert so it stands out. And I'll pay eBay the 10% that they want to promote it. Whereas everyone else is sticking their listings on in a massive pile of free listings that you've got to wade through. Whereas I'll just pay the 10%. It's like, yes, you can have 10% of the sale. eBay, put my ad at the top of the pile. But that's about it. It's not exactly a complicated formula. But it is incredibly rewarding when you're like, I can keep doing this bit. I keep saying this every day now, and I'm going to just keep saying it. Because before, it was making excuses for mics. Now, 2 fingers up to anybody who moans about it. It's like, I wouldn't be here. That's it. I mean, there's only so much support that the 2 dozen, 3 dozen, however many it is. There's a fair few people. I won't decry the number of people who support me on Patreon and via PayPal and just bung me money, right? I'm not going to decry for 1 second all of those individuals. Yeah, they are keeping the lights on. But as for keeping the roof over my head, there's a certain revenue stream, in this case ad revenue, that isn't at the moment doing that. So to bolster it with an extra revenue stream that is successfully keeping the roof over my head, because that is obviously priority number 1, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yes, no.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm delighted. You know, every time one sells and I've made a small profit on it, I'm like, all right, great. Keeping the roof over my head. That's what it's all about. And people who are like, oh, another bloody mic video. You're like, yeah, another mic video to keep the roof over my head.
Yeah, there was somebody moaning yesterday in chat about that. And I'm like, well, got to make money. Got to have different avenues. Got a family to support.
Every now and again, right, someone will come along, and I don't advertise this fact, but you'll slowly slip into debt, right? And then someone will come along and bail you out. Now, I don't verbally point that out to an audience like, oh, by the way, I'm X number of thousands of pounds in debt and somebody's come along and bailed me out today. You don't point that out to people. You just keep going through the cycle. And that perpetual cycle can keep going so long as you can keep your head above water short term. And short term, you just need cash, don't you? Right? Well, if for whatever reason your videos aren't reaching as much of your audience, right? I know how fickle my audience is. So if you're getting less numbers on the live stream, you're going to get less super chats, and that number is going to go down. It's just that simple. Well, when you're on a knife edge, you've got to make that number consistently the same number. It's the number the bank wants.
Yeah, banks want their money.
Yeah. You can always make more money, and it is just a question of work, you know, pushing yourself that little bit further. But it's not just words when you say I haven't got enough hours in the day and you try and squeeze something else in. Like everything's overlapping, which is kind of unfortunate.
Well, that freaking, listen, I haven't made a dime since I got, what do you call it? Deactivated from all platforms pertaining to driving because I did not have the money to get a lawyer to fight that stupid charge of reckless driving, failure to maintain control of a vehicle, and they threw in failed brakes or something like that. Something with the braking system. I'm like, when did this charge come in? So because I couldn't fight it, they just found me guilty. And that goes right across the internet. And that's it. Everybody got a hold of that, and I was deactivated. I'm like,
I'm
what the
sorry.
freak is this?
You're a survivor, Neil. You'll find the next thing to do. I mean, no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying I don't have anything coming in for the last, I think this is going on the 4th week. But my wife and my son are working. I mean, they're not making much, but we're able to pay the bills, but it won't happen next month. I gotta find something, even if I have to go back to New York. It is what it is, but it's crazy how they could just freaking ruin your life, basically. I mean, you mean to tell me that nobody doing deliveries has gotten to a car accident? It's like insanity.
Well, clearly,
Can't figure it out.
that's not what they want. They don't want people getting in car accidents, and if you've got in one, then you're more likely to get in one than the next man who hasn't, right? It's just that.
I'm not driving people around. I'm not a car service. I'm freaking delivering groceries or food. And when I got into the accident, it wasn't on their time. Anyway, it's just a bunch of baloney system and stacked against you. The deck is stacked against you.
I
But
feel
you're
it.
right. I am a survivor.
No, it's a bummer. I don't disagree.
So I tried to get in politics, and I think I'm banned too because I don't even see a 24/7 room there. So I think AI Overlord banned everybody that's affiliated with FED.
No, it's still there. I don't know why you can't see it, but he didn't ban everybody.
You could still see it.
Yeah, I was on there yesterday.
What's your name?
Duncan
Who are
MacLeod of the
you?
Clan MacLeod.
Oh yeah, they would recognize you from here. So I don't know. I can't even see the room.
Weird, maybe they did ban you.
And who can blame them?
Yeah, I don't even
Well
see the room.
deserved.
If you're there and you see the room, I do not even see the room. I don't see 24/7 flat Earth. All I see is politics. And this has been since last night. So Duncan, if you go in there right now, you could see the room. Oh, he might have started the show.
Yeah, I can see it.
This is a
Hello,
travesty.
everyone.
Go over this every time. I should not be the only one on the G Plus panel or Teams panel, whatever you want to call this next room we're in. Let's go.
I mean, statistically, Wednesday's the most miserable day of the week, and I don't normally mention this, but it's specific to a Wednesday that I mention it, right? So when you're in an office job or in a general Monday to Friday job, people would assume that Monday is the most miserable day, and it is not the case, right? On a Monday, you haven't seen the office workers, the people you're around most of your working life, for a whole weekend. So you get to fill them in on what you've done over the weekend, right? Exciting times, right? People aren't that miserable on a Monday. And Tuesday is just almost the same as Monday, right? You've still got stuff to reminisce about the weekend with your fellow colleagues. Come Wednesday, you're nowhere near the weekend. There's no pretending that Thursday's the new Friday on a Wednesday now, is there?
Um,
So Wednesday
I don't.
is full of woe.
I don't know, Nathan. In the States, it's not. Wednesday's known as Hump Day. It's a very big theater night. It's right. You're right at the hump of the week. You're getting ready to go over it. So Wednesday's a pretty big night in New York City, the office buildings and stuff.
People go to the theatre on a Wednesday, do they, in New York? Okay, I didn't know that. Or is it Broadway?
Yeah, Wednesday's the theater night. Wednesday is usually what do they call that when the women drink for free? The happy hour
Okay.
in all the pubs. Yeah.
Yeah, but why do they do that? Because it's midweek and it's a lull.
Yeah, it's called Hump.
Yeah, so they're trying to get you over the hump by motivating you with cheap drinks and theatre tickets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
When you phoned me up and decided you did something.
What people really want is the Friday and the Saturday. That's what they actually want, right? No hump day nonsense. I mean, this is inconsequential if you're working in retail because you're probably working every day. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the only ones that benefited out are the ones that are the higher ups in the office spaces. It's for them. It's not for the common folk, the hump day.
That's not even a thing here, Neil. There is no hump day here. Please share the show if you're amongst the 36 people who are keen and have joined us right at the beginning of this live stream. Thank you very much for being here. It is a pleasure to be back doing this on a daily basis. Although I'm slightly lispy, given that my mouth isn't fully healed. But I was keen to get back into it, so I've only got myself to blame if you hear me slightly lisping. That will hopefully resolve itself with time. But yeah, it's nice to be doing the bit. I say the bit. The one of 3 jobs that I currently do that I enjoy the most. It's nice to be doing it again.
Yeah, it's great when you could do what you love for a living. Hats off to you. What'd you think about Jiren and his new buddy, Simon Scan?
Well, when I joined the live stream, by live stream I mean QE's stream yesterday, so if you haven't checked it out, Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, they had, or QE had I should say, a live stream yesterday, Quantum Eraser Live, with a whole panel full of people, Brian, Adam, Flatsy, yourself, Neil. And the discussion was Dan and Jiren discussing the woes and wherefores and whys of Flat Earth, as Jiren's now an ex-Flat Earther, right? Now, aside from the mildly amusing introspection that Dan had to face after finding out that we really didn't give a toss about him, affirmed by Jiren, I was kind of interested in what I was told in the chat. So before you guys were covering that video, I said to somebody who was in QE's chat, my understanding in this is this a reasonably heavy on the Nathan discussion video, and someone from the chat was like, they barely mention you. I'm like, okay, why would you be telling me that when I've specifically been informed that I'm being mentioned in this video several times? So someone in the chat's downplaying it, and then when Dan brings me up, Jiren downplays it. Now, I think somebody noted that there's a quick, swift change of subject, but not necessarily for the reasons that I would infer, but maybe it's just because everyone like me is a bit self-indulgent and thinks everything's about them, but it didn't necessarily get a mention that I felt Jiren was quick to segue, initially at least, away from the discussion of me personally. But because of Dan being quite tenacious in that specific regard, they eventually were going to and did discuss it. Me, that is. Go ahead.
And there's still liquid coming out the back of that.
I think he's off mute by accident.
That's all right. I can mute you all, and then you'll have to take yourselves off mute. So yeah, that was interesting to me. That initially, at least, didn't seem like Jiren wanted to discuss that, and then eventually his proof of science not proving anything, and that being a justification for wanting to disagree with me, I found particularly hilarious. But I don't care. I mean, sincerely, I have no desire to really cover Jiren anymore because there's nothing in it for me. So back in the day, when Jiren was seemingly on the side of Flat Earth and just doing an absolutely awful job, I would be on his show trying to help him, in my view, get to grips with flat earth arguments that he wasn't using and certainly wasn't winning arguments against others with. He just wasn't doing that, and it annoyed me and everyone around me. So it's not like we were approaching Jiren because we wanted to be camaraderie, if that's the right word, one for all and all for one with Jiren. Not at all. Right, we're there because he's doing a poor job and we want him to do better. Or I wanted him to do better. Everyone else is telling me to stop wasting my time. He's a shill. All right with they. But meanwhile, me, again, I'm quite tenacious. When someone is seemingly on our own side, Jiren in that case, past tense, I wanted him to do a good job. Now, there's a certain amount of lost causes that you just got to give up on. You've got to accept at some point that no matter how much you don't want to sound like a conspirator by calling shill, when they mess it up on Beyond the Curve or whatever the Netflix documentary was called, and there was another occasion where Jiren's involved with something ballsing everything up. I can't remember the list. It's now starting to fade into the back of my memory because he's no longer of any consequence to us. He's just another normie, right? What's he? Okay, you're an ex-flat earther. Well, you know better than Ranty, then, are you?
Right, but it was interesting to me how you were inside freaking Dan's head. Oh boy, you are in there, Nathan, like deep rooted, like an Alabama tick. That Q he talks about. You are in that head of his because he kept bringing you up.
Well, he does. I don't need to be, right. I'm kind of way past that, right. I don't give a toss. Now, when we're in debate and we're arguing with some other crazy numpty who thinks the Earth's a ball, and the subject of reference frames comes up, obviously, Dan is somebody who is better known than I and is useful to tie a point to. But do I give a toss about Dan? No. Now, that might be irritating to Dan because he's asking Jiren, how irritating do the Flat Earth community find me? Surely I'm a fly in many of anointment. Response, no, not really. No one really cared. Right? Well, yeah, but Dan cares about me pointing out the humiliating facts when it comes to their need for 2 reference frames and him relinquishing them to me in a tweet. But that will keep him awake at night, whereas it only really gets a second thought if it has something to tie to a direct argument that's happening there and then. My point being, I'm not really giving much consideration to Dan on a daily basis. But Dan is obviously, I don't want to be the source of anybody's pain in that regard, right? If you're getting called a numpty because you've chosen to try and relinquish your pain and take it out on me, and then you get both barrels in the face as a consequence, metaphorically, verbally, then that's fair game. But as for Dan, to his credit, as much as he might get called a coward for this, it's his choice to say, I don't want to engage with you. I have already decided that my belief is true. The world is a ball and there's nothing you can do to change that. You're like, yeah, well, if the ball is in the mind's eye of the non-observer, in this case Simon Dan, far be it for me to take that belief from you, Dan. So don't let me live rent-free in your head. There's no need for it, right? Get on with your life. Good for you, because in many ways, if what you say is true in that regard, speaking to Dan, then go about your day, right? I'm chill about this. Let's go on. Lights on as I'm going to be on camera. But I'm completely chill. I don't care about Dan. And you, Dan, shouldn't care about me, right? Get on with your day if you know Earth's a ball, right? I'm here.
Yeah, but his goal, his goal is to freaking help the rest of society. That's why he does these videos. He considers us a detriment. And that's why he does these videos. That's why he wants to be a thorn in our side. Unfortunately, nobody gives a crap. Because you have no arguments. Earth is measured flat. And you're standing on it. And there's nothing you could do to make it a ball.
What I was going to say is, if you want to go about your life in a consensus-based reality, then that is the reason why I am the fly in his ointment. Yeah? Because I am a constant reminder that the consensus isn't whole. You don't need to worry about that, right? When it comes to a belief, yeah, it's not more true if you have a complete consensus agreement on it. That doesn't make the statements of belief more true. So who cares? Right? Be content in your belief is what I'm trying to say. Don't let me be a fly in that ointment just because I know every single demonstrable, claimable evidence that you will utilise for a ball Earth will use flat Earth measurements, and therefore I know Earth's flat. Don't let that ruin your day.
Too late. It already has.
Well, it shouldn't, right? I'm going to try as hard as I possibly can to not let any of you numpties whose names I can't remember ruin my day. I mean, I don't know Dan's name. What's his name? Is it Simon? Is it Dan? What's his name? I don't know his name because I don't care, number one. Number two, he's not giving it. He's giving himself a silly schoolyard name. A nickname, we used to call them. Maybe that's still common vernacular. I'm quite old now. But he's given himself a nickname. Otherwise known in the truckers' vernacular as a handle. So his handle is Simon Dan. What the hell does that mean? My name's Nathan Oakley. I was taught by old-fashioned dotherers how to introduce oneself. Okay? Firm handshake. All that nonsense. None of this giving people your nickname. But these people, in some deluded way, feel that they command respect. And when you take upon yourself a nickname that steals valour from the educated, Professor Dave, yeah, that's an affront, right? That's just an affront.
Well, isn't that one of the questions in if you're in a cult or not? How they give themselves these names of authority, something like that. I know it was one of the questions.
Right. Does your guru ascribe some grandiose title to himself or herself? Yeah. Professor Dave, my ass. My point is, you don't need extra status to know that your belief is your belief and you want it. Are we talking about Dan rather than Dave? Let's keep it on one person. But yes, it was clearly obvious from listening that I live rent-free in Simon Dan's head. And there's no need, right? You believe it's a ball, good for you. Get on with your day. Don't let me live rent-free. But on the other hand, like you found out, Dan, you've only got yourself to blame in terms of me being a thorn in your side. You tweeted me. I didn't proactively go after Dan, talking to him about bleeding Coriolis effect. Au contraire, I've got better things to do. Dan proactively contacted me via Twitter, now X, telling me, you and your reference names are ruined, Nathan. Yeah, I haven't got any, Dan. But you felt the need to proactively contact me. Yeah? Why? Well, because you want pain relief from me. You didn't get it, now you're living with the consequences. Yeah? Karma's a bitch, isn't it? Yeah, you wanted me to be embarrassed on Twitter, presumably because you've got more Twitter followers. Speaking again to Simon Dan. You want me to have my nose rubbed in from the eye of the person reading that tweet. Au contraire, you've never lived it down. Now, you can't get me out of your head? All you want to talk about with the ex-flat earther is me? Okay. Fair enough, Simon Dan. I don't want that. I'm not, smug in delight because I keep Dan awake at night. I don't care. I won't think about that either. Yeah? It will weigh heavy while we're having a show and discussing it and I'm being asked about it. But beyond that, I don't care if Dan is being kept up at night because of me. Really, after the show's finished, we're done talking about it, I'll forget about it. Dan and any consequences of my actions telling the world that it's measured flat because it is.
Yeah, but I didn't like the way how he put you and Globe Busters together, how they were really at the cutting edge and they were very respectful and politeful, and all you did was yell and disrespect people. That annoys me because they do that intentionally to get that message out there. Same thing as Patricia Sphere.
I don't care. Again, if you need pain relief, right, from that point of view, and you have to lie, manipulate, and deceive an audience to cast aspersions on your opponent, in this case me, okay, You have that need. You have that desire. You have that requirement. I am in no need or desire to twist what Dan has done. Do I make up tweets that he sent me? Am I lying when I say he proactively contacted me? No, I'm not. But they hate themselves. That's what this really is. Any form of projection is always one's own monsters being projected onto the opponent that they see. Because the opponent, in this case, is me. And the thing they hate is a mirror image of themselves. What does Dan hate? He hates the fact that he couldn't quite square the circle of Coriolis and needed to take it out on me. And it backfired. Now that really pisses him off. He thinks that's my fault. So it's my name on his tongue. What he doesn't realise is it's him. It's you, Dan. You are the one with this problem. Yeah, once you realise it, I realised it years ago. When I was about 16, 17, I was being particularly monstrous to somebody. It suddenly dawned on me that what I was doing was my own insecurities pouring out on this person, this poor soul. Suddenly realised that it's just a fat mirror that you're holding up and you're yelling at yourself. Yeah? That's why I can turn on a dime when I'm doing it for the show, when I'm really hamming it up for somebody, yelling with justification and a decent argument. Then, bam, I'm smiling and laughing at them. Oh, what, you don't like me being abusive and aggressive, as you call it? No, I'm telling you Earth's measured flat with your example, with a sharp tone because you've interrupted me 6 times. Suddenly that's abusive in their vernacular and their terminology. So I'll turn it on a dime, switch off the I'll be as aggressive to you as you've been to me for the last 10 years, and point out that I can just be as humorous and jovial and as cordial as you would expect me to be in any given moment, as I say, on a dime. But I'll give them that mirror. They want to yell at us. They want to tell me off, don't they? But they hate it when I hold the mirror up and point it out to them. Yeah, you want to yell at me and call me a retard, don't you? So I'll do that. I'll do it for you. But it won't be you calling me a retard. It'll be the mirror yelling back at you. But what you want to project onto Nathan Oakley, yeah, Nathan Oakley isn't a mirror. It's not yourself that's standing there. There's no one to suddenly realise it's inconsequential and you're on your own because your introspection suddenly kicked in. No, you've actually got someone that you're yelling at me, and I can yell back.
Well, what are we going to do today?
This is it. That was kind of what I was driving at when I was talking about Wednesday being kind of that midweek lull. I'm more than happy to go back old school. I'd kind of, in my mind, cemented that I might be sat here on my own talking to myself for a solid hour, which I'm perfectly fine doing. I guess I'll talk about bikes for an hour. But that's old school, right? Because in the original Flat Earth debate concept, I was sat for 2, 3, 4, 5 sessions of the hour, popping up on camera. You just go back and have a look. I mean, I've readjusted my camera so I can be nicely framed. Am I in the middle? Just about. When I do this, and I've got my light switch to hand so I can look reasonably well presented. When I point out that on an original show, I'd say, if you wanted to join and porn bomb me, you can get the Google Plus link from below the YouTube video, rather than having a stepped gateway with moderation to let you in or not let you into a Discord server. I used to just open the door to the G Plus panel, effectively, when it was Hangouts on air, right? And that I bring up because I forget all these things until the people who are around me that see the historic and influential endeavours of Nathan Oakley being laid out from a third-party perspective, like Adam was doing yesterday, describing how we got porn bombed, right?
Yeah.
Well, that would be when I would be like this. I go, please join the show. There's a link below. So go back to Flat Earth Debate 17 or something, and you'll see me sat in silence because I've run out of things to say, because I'm doing it daily, trying to build that snowball. And every so often I've got to go on camera and say, come on, join. Right? And I'm going to keep cock-waffling until somebody actually gets on the show.
Yeah, but it wasn't, you didn't start out, and Curie didn't start out as these arrogant, freaking nasty, foul-mouthed people. I mean, this was something that they've created. Like Curie said, they created us by the things they were saying to us. Drink bleach, go die. You shouldn't even be educating your kids. You shouldn't even have kids if you're a flat earther. Come on, these are things that we had to endure. And now that the table's turned, now with these just people that you can't even have a conversation with because they're so damn rude. That's what they lie about when they don't want to come on your show and have a debate, which is not a debate, and that's why they don't come on the show. So I guess they're not that stupid.
But it eats them up. These people who profess to those things suggest that I've got a mute button or I'm going to censor them or it's not a neutral platform. All those things, right? Those are the people that are the first to mention my name, aren't they? Now, that's what I mean when I say going back to old school flat earth debate. If there's prolonged silences with me every now and again going, there's a link below, you can join. You can tell me I'm wrong when I say Earth's measured flat. When I example Simon Dan having me in his head simply because I detail those facts that he will utilise a flat plane to describe the reference frames he said were ruined, that he needs for a globe. He'll need a flat plane for those. But you can join and you can tell me I'm wrong. And in the middle of the week when I haven't got any videos necessarily to cover, we could cover a bit more a day wise. But I'd rather just encourage the audience to know what we're doing because it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, right? This is something that's now regular. We're all familiar here with what we do. We're all familiar with Earth being measured flat, negotiated and mapped flat, charted flat, built on flat, flown across flat. Obviously, observably, navigably flat. But if you're unfamiliar with that and you're Simon Dan in the case of this discussion, as he's now our muse, you're going to have it keep you up awake at night because you don't know how to cope with the mirror version of yourself yelling back, you and your reference frames are ruined. That's going to eat you up, isn't it? So
everybody leaves out the stutter. Don't forget he had a stutter before he said that. You and your reference frames are ruined.
So have I. Keep catching my tongue on a bit of tooth that I didn't used to have.
Yeah, but theirs is a nervous, unsure of themselves stutter that you catch every time.
Yeah, I've got nervous.
You ever hear of a nervous laughter?
Yeah, I've got.
People laugh
That's what I'm trying to say.
nervous.
That's what I've got. Nervous about where the bloody hell my tongue's going to be in my mouth.
Did Simon Dan ever contact you to be on the show and have a debate with you? Has he ever even came on and spoke to you in Discord or on the internet? Never, right?
No, he contacted me proactively via Twitter.
So there you have it. You have an open door. He could have came in any time, and he didn't. But he's gonna pass judgment on you because of how you may have dealt with other people. It's a one-on-one basis. You make a decision on somebody's character when you talk to them yourself, not by how you talk to somebody else.
Is this guy in Discord that's server deafened and server muted? Swanee. Why has he been server muted? Anybody know?
What's his name?
He's vanished already.
Yeah,
so.
I don't know. Oh, he left.
Oh, he took off right away. Huh?
Yeah. Well, he couldn't hear me asking about him, so he didn't know I was hovering over him. Yeah, if you're unaware, you can join. So you can tell us we're wrong. That's what Neil's driving at, right? Rather than letting it eat you up, just come and tell me I'm wrong, Just point out how right you are about your religion of a ball. And I'll take great pleasure in taking your example, showing you where Earth must be, like axiomatically tied to Earth being measured flat, for your example, of a ball you think you're standing on, you believe in. I love doing that. Yeah. Danny was like a stepping stone. Do you remember disgruntled Danny last week?
Yes.
Yeah. These people want to tell us, like, this ties back into what we were just discussing, that we're stupid. That we're idiot flat earthers. We're, Lisa on the fish counter at Asda. Idiots. In the mind's eye of these people who want to tell us so. Yeah. Well, I like taking their flat earth proving axiomatic example that they've made to tell themselves they're on a ball and really rubbing their face in their own example so that they can't get out, like they're hog-tied with their own example. If you want to describe how off a flat earth we are in elevation terms for your example, you can only squirm about how flat earth must be for that, or relinquish it, in which case you relinquish your example, don't you?
I think that they're coming from a different angle here, because you're saying it's their opinion, but actually they just want to support somebody else's opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. They're trying to support somebody else's opinion. I noticed that when you see people who watch Simon Dan or one of those pro-globe videos, they're trying to get an affirmation to confirm this thing that somebody else has told them. Whereas when you come flat earth, you're trying to dispel something.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Other than it's making a measurement a consensus opinion or something that can be affirmed with a consensus viewpoint. But when it comes to measurements, you started off by saying they're coming from a different angle. So, well, a measurement of an angle with respect to a surface that's planar is utilised for a ball belief.
Well, what did Jiren say? If the south is not correct, then it can't be flat.
Or
Something
south is
to that
only...
effect?
Sorry, did he say that? Because south is flat. South is a flat earth direction.
Yes, that's what he said.
Well, south is axiomatically flat. South can only be flat. North, south, east and west are flat. So he's saying if south is south, we can't have a flat earth? Now, south is a flat earth. Those directions are flat. South is that way. What bloody muppet. Yo, Jared, you dickhead. South's that way. Yeah? It's not that way. It's not that way. Yeah? Have you ever used a compass? Yeah, look at your compass. Yeah? Which way south on it? It's that way. Yeah, it's flat. Yeah? Axiomatically flat. Yeah? That's why all the maps are flat. Yeah, so you can use them with a compass. What the frickin' hell are these idiots on?
Yeah, but he's affirming a consequence with that. He's assuming that north, right, and the south is on the opposite side of north, therefore glob.
Sorry, is that what it is on a compass? Sorry, I just had a compass in front of me. Wasn't south opposite to north in terms of its flat linear directionality? I'm pretty sure he was.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Craig, go ahead.
Yeah, my point was he's not assuming that. He's confirming the fact somebody else has told him that fact. Whereas you've looked at the compass and you've come to your own decision.
You're saying that in sincerity? Yeah, it took many months of pondering. I looked at the compass. I stared at that sucker. I was like this. I was like, months. And then, yeah, I came to the conclusion after many months of pondering that it's flat, yeah. It's really, really hard to come to that conclusion.
You began to trust your own thoughts, not rely on anybody else's?
Yeah, but
No.
think back when you weren't a flat earther, Nathan, and you looked at that compass.
Oh, back then, I used to sellotape it to a frickin' football. I'd still use the compass the same way if I was orienteering, right? You know what I mean? It didn't change how the compass worked. My
Yeah,
ball
but
belief.
in your mind, you were thinking you were on a ball because this is what you were taught and told.
No, I was a Boy Scout. I was taught how to map and navigate, and no, I know how to use a compass and a map. It's flat. At no point was I taught how to be ball mindful when using a freaking compass. So no, it was just flat.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Because, yeah, when you're in the Boy Scouts and you use a compass, you're not even thinking, well, I'm on a globe, so it has to be a certain way. You're right. It's always flat.
Yeah, you do that yourself. Like, Jiren's done it for so long that he thinks we can do it too until we look him in the eye and go, yo, spastic. Have you ever looked at a fucking compass? Yeah, you went back to the ball for this, did you, dipshit? Really? Yeah, now I can laugh at you like I laugh at Simon Dan. I mean, I'll forget about Jiren like I forget about Simon Dan afterwards. It won't be like I get kept up awake at night, because I used to. Because it's like, man, this is irritating. He's on my side. I can communicate with this guy. I've got a link to him. I can talk to the man. I can reason with him. And he's a flatty, right? No, because it's shit. Jiren's a tosser and an idiot. Yeah, I kind of already knew that. I've interacted with him plenty. When he was a flat earther, I used to interact with him quite regularly. Yeah, stick a shit, isn't he? Yeah, look at a compass, dum-dum.
Divergent Droid is asking if Click OK has a YouTube channel that he can plug.
No, he's got a real job. He gets called all sorts of things. In my eBay ads, he's my engineer. He's doing actual things, fixing people's computers, keeping the world ticking along. A very reasonable
Sorry,
rate.
I wasn't listening. I was talking. No. Sorry. Yeah, no, don't have a YouTube channel. I don't think I look very pretty on the camera. That's what it is.
Not true. Very handsome lad.
Now worried.
So Adam said that Jiren is massive, like he's this really big guy. You met him, right, Nathan?
What it means is Jiren's got a bit of a gut on him. He's a bit of a fatty. Like he's had too many pies. That's what he actually means.
Okay.
Now, if you met
Massive
me at the
pie
moment, I'll be honest, I've probably had a few too many pies too. So he'd probably have a similar attitude. Jiren and I probably have a similar size, right? So we're both about the same height. He's probably about 6'2", I would guess. But you know, he's tall but not massive. So therefore, he can put on, like me, 10 pounds and probably no one would notice. But then when you get to putting on a couple of stone, you look down and go, yeah, I'm all right fat sod at the moment, aren't I? And Jiren's no different. So when I met him, I didn't necessarily think, you fat bastard, you ate all the pies. I just thought, yeah, you've probably eaten quite a few of the pies.
We know who got all the meat. His wife just got the potatoes.
I don't know what that means.
So
don't
Jiren is a bit of an oblate spheroid.
I don't like this. Who cares, right? This isn't, who cares? How he appears or presents himself, right?
It's funny. The oblate spheroid was funny. No, that's the shape of his head.
Again, this is below us. This is beneath us. We don't need to do this. Yeah? In terms of Jiren's argument, if Jiren's argument is South can't be South, it's like, look at South. Look at what it is.
It's a direction opposite to the needle that points north.
Therefore, glob.
No, therefore flat, Neil.
It would have to, the needle couldn't point up because, like, you know, on a globe you only have in and out rather than up and down.
They don't know that, though.
Yeah, but when it gets to the middle, that has to go out. So your south to the north would have to go in and then out again at the same time.
We know that, but in their mind, it's therefore glob.
These are flat, right? It's on screen now, right? Yeah? These are planar directions. There's no getting away from it. This isn't something I'm going to argue with either, right? I'm not going to argue about this shit anymore. Right? It's just stupid. When people start telling me, no, level, right, level, that's curving. I'm just going to shake my head and think, wanker. Okay, go in peace, wanker. I'm not going to argue this. I don't care if you believe that anymore. Okay, you need that to square this circle, do you? Yeah? Okay. Eye level, not parallel with surface. Okay, have it. You can have it. Sure, it's on me. Take it. Yep, you win. Go in peace. That's the ball. That's what you need.
That's fine, and we understand that. And we say go in peace. You want to live in your ball, go ahead. But they come out with channels called Fight the Flat Earth, right? So they're the ones in pain, and they need to stop us and fight us. So you're public enemy numero uno, Nathan.
Yeah, you'd think it would help in terms of my popularity. You'd think infamy would at least pay the mortgage, but it doesn't. You know? It's a cruel world when everyone's talking about you, but YouTube censor you so much that you struggle to hit 70 people watching live when you run a live stream for 10 years. There we go. That's life, isn't it?
You could become a baller and see if that does anything.
No,
That's what Jiren did.
Becoming a baller. I can do that today. I believe Earth's a sphere. There you go.
Oh, they're going to clip that out now, Nathan.
I believe it. I believe it. My kid believes it too, right? Eleanor Land exists in Ball Earth world, and her imagination allows her to take us out there. And I encourage it. Yeah, you need to know and understand and appreciate how the world is reified into being a sphere. And I teach her some of the advanced heliocentric flat Earth requiring notions of measurement of the surface of Earth being flat to get her to that sphere Earth reification. I believe in that globe that utilizes flat Earth measurements to put it into existence. I truly do believe in Earth being measured flat for that belief. It's easy to believe in a globe if you have the advanced understanding of just how flat Earth must be measured to get you to that belief.
The Jing, I think that's it. You got more viewers now because of that.
Well, the viewers are going to come when your book is released. You're going to increase. People are going to be seeking you out because the book is going to be outstanding. Something that's never been in a flat Earth book before. How Earth is measured flat, how we lay it out. Eye-opening.
But we can be on the side of their ball belief, is my point. It's very easy to believe whatever you like. Have you never seen Miracle on, what's that film called, hun? The one where you
Miracle on 34th Street.
34th Street. Yeah.
Yeah, Miracle on 34th Street. They believed in Santa Claus and he was real because that little girl believed.
Yeah, so you too can believe in a globe, like I believe in a globe. And my advanced understanding takes me to the measurements of a surface plane on screen now for my audience. But you can believe you're on it. Oh, I can't do that, by the way. You know, I can believe in the world being a ball by Copernican reification. And I understand how many people do reify it into belief of the surface being a dwellable place for you to live. That's not possible. You know, you have to reify it from within the ball. You know, you've got to be in hell to believe in the ball. Mathematically speaking, once you understand the axiomatic principles of Earth being measured flat to get you there. It's on screen right now.
Yeah, but the problem with that is the cities that we dwell in are not built inside the ball, supposedly built on atop the ball, which is an impossibility, by the way.
Yeah, top, bottom isn't something that you're going to use on a ball. In or out only. I think that was covered by Craig earlier. That's all you've got. Meanwhile, we measure and build on the surface of Earth as a flat plane. That's how it's built on. These are facts. I like how people are telling me in the comments that I don't understand how big Earth is. That's happening more and more. Very amusing.
Oh, Earth's so biggie, huh?
Yes, just we didn't hear it before, like you've said a few times, Neil, right? We never heard them previously when they were like, yeah, we can navigate and we can build on Earth flat. It's really big. Locally flat. Now we hear Earth's measured flat from our opponents on a regular basis, don't we?
Yeah, because now our ears are in tune, but for years we whistled right past it.
Well, we thought we had to argue what they needed to believe the ball is when they told us Earth was measured flat. So we end up, if you listen back to the old debates, telling them how idiotic they are in regards to their own faith of being on a ball. So we become the educators of ball Earth faith. Now, Dave Weiss is the antithesis, not the antithesis, the pinnacle of exactly that. Spends most of his time teaching people how globe Earth rhetoric works. What they need to believe in to be on a ball. That's what he's teaching people. That's become Dave Weiss's rhetoric. It's getting him called a shill by me. You know, if he keeps it up indefinitely, he's just going to indefinitely get called a shill because he's non-stop talking about ball earth mathematics that he doesn't really understand fully.
Well, they did indict one other person. They called Eric DeBay. Eric DeBay had told Jiren that if he goes on with Mark Sargent, then he'll be considered a shill because Mark Sargent works for NASA. But Eric DeBay was a prophet.
Okay. I mean, none of that made any sense to me, Neil. I'll be honest.
Well, because Jiren has become a shill, so I guess Eric DeBay was correct.
I mean, a clock that's stopped is still right twice a day, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, though. It turns out that he was prophetic in that.
But he was calling absolutely everybody a shill at one point.
Yeah. So the few he got wrong, that don't count. Just the ones he got right.
Well, no, he was calling everybody that's a prominent flat earther a shill. And
Did he call you a shill?
No.
Okay, there you go. So there's a reason why, and Adam speaks about it. It's funny how we're never mentioned in these categories.
I did highlight once that Paul Michael Bales was suggesting Eric DeBay was a shill.
I don't think Eric is a shill. Eric is just a complex dude. You know, he's a savant.
No, I don't know. I've never met the guy. I've never spoken to him. The only interactions I've ever had when I've saw a really cracking video and supported him with a super chat. And he said thanks or something, you know. That's about as much as my interactions ever gone with Eric DeBay.
So we're all alone here. Like I said a long time ago, we're all alone. Now we really are all alone. But that's the best way to be.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to promoting the book. That's the next thing on the flat earthing list, right? There's a very subtle but palpable lull or calm. What's the phrase? Calm before the storm. That's what we're experiencing now. Yeah? There's a storm coming. And
Yeah.
that storm is the book. I know we've been talking about when's it coming out? It's like now we're getting close to it coming out. We can actually start talking about what will happen when it does. Like, we'll go out and promote the book. There'll be an initial surge of people buying it, but that means that it's going to distribute its way into society. People like books. I'm finding out more and more as I talk about books. People like to talk about them with other people, more so than YouTube videos. They hold in people's mind a more significant impact culturally than videos do. Now, for me, it's just interaction with people, and people are people, and how they interact with each other to me is fundamental to life. But for whatever reason, the written word, as opposed to the spoken word, commands a higher degree of respect. Not just the pen being mightier than the sword, the pen is mightier than the tongue. In some instances.
No, it's true because you got tables named after, coffee table book. You don't have a coffee table app, do you?
I don't know, back in the 2000s, you had those touchscreen tables, didn't you? They had those interactive bar tables. Do you remember those? They were ace.
Yeah, but they name a table specifically a coffee table book, because you're going to have a book on that table and it's going to be read. And the new book is going to be Welcome to Flat Earth. And you're right. I've been saying it. When this comes out, there's going to be a surge.
Yeah, but you can have anything, can't you? You can call it coffee table. That's a coffee table jigsaw, that is. That's coffee table pornography right there.
They had a whole Seinfeld episode on it, Nathan.
I don't know. I was never a big fan of Seinfeld. think it might have been.
especially when you
was
take
it Owen
out the laugh
Benjamin?
tracks.
I don't think. Yeah, the laugh tracks. Was it Owen Benjamin that removed them? I remember it was.
Yeah.
Somebody removed them, and I was like, yeah, that's what I heard. Because I never heard. I could never. How to phrase this? I was never conscious of the laugh tracks. The laugh tracks didn't make me feel like everyone around was laughing, even if they were real, right? So often things like Friends, the canned laughter isn't canned. They're genuinely filming it in front of an audience and getting the reactions. Yeah? Well, it might be that they play back the reaction from the first take when they got the gag the first time, and they'll use the audience reaction from that because it was a better reaction. So they will edit and mess with the canned laughter, so to speak, with TV shows. But I was never one to really respond to it. I'd listen to the joke, and it's either funny or not. And I never liked Seinfeld. I saw it for what it was. And that was really exemplified when Owen Benjamin took off the laugh track and went, listen to what's really going on here. People have pointed out how narcissistic the whole show is. And it is.
Yeah, but Kramer was funny. His body movements. He had that body comedy.
You're talking about petty, vindictive, narcissistic assholes. That's all that show was about. 3 of them. One worse than the last.
I mean, even they knew that with the last episode and everything. The last episode, they end up in jail pretty much just for being dicks.
I didn't know that. I like the writer that little bit more now. That's what those characters all belonged. Wasn't it?
And how did Kramer earn his money? The man never worked.
Yes, shyster.
Do you know how much it costs to live in an apartment in Manhattan, especially where they were?
That makes perfect sense for somebody like him. People like him that just do get by. And you kind of ask yourself, how does that even work? How does that even happen? In fact, there's loads of people like that I've experienced in life. How do you even exist, I ask myself.
Not only
Most
exist,
even
they
know.
flourish. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
I was just saying, some of us don't even know how we survive.
I was thinking the same thing a minute ago. But I know what I do to survive, right? That's the big difference. Whereas we're describing people who float through life and you're like, you're not even trying. When I describe scraping by, keeping my head bobbing above the water, things like that, there's a certain type of person in society, they're not, right? They're gliding through life. Maybe it's just an outlook. I don't know. Until they end up in jail, right? What am I talking about? Yeah, that kind of person ends up in jail.
I haven't ended up in jail, but I'm definitely skating through life. I've been feeling a lot of sort of ways lately. I'm feeling like I could maybe be that person that you talk about, that person who just knows it's flat and can move on. And I've been feeling like I should probably step up for my baby. But I don't know how exactly.
Be there, innit? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you there?
I'm trying.
Are you around your kid? That's it. That's all you got to do.
Always. Anyway, I'm not trying to bring it down. I'm just, we exist. We are here too. And we're trying.
Yeah, I totally
Well,
get
I
it.
believe a man is not a man until he gets married and has kids and is responsible for other people. Then you're mature.
Yeah, until you get
Mature
a bit...
or a man, that was 2 different things.
Say again, Craig?
Is he saying you're a man or you're mature? What was you saying, Neil?
No, I'm saying you're mature. To me, it's like when you only have to take care of yourself, you're very selfish. Until you're responsible for feeding others and responsible for the lives of others, that's when you become a mature man.
You become more responsible.
You become a man.
No, there's better ways of becoming a man than becoming responsible.
You're taking on your role as the man, and you are providing for that family. You become a lion when you have cubs. All right? Until then, you're just a reckless dude that only cares about yourself.
So you're not a man until you become a father.
That's the way I believe. You could be a man, but you're a very selfish man. Especially those that are married and don't want to have children. I knew of one. And he was told of him, you're a very selfish man. And it hit him like a ton of bricks, but it was already too late. He lost his wife, and he was a little older, so he lost his ability to have a family, something his wife always wanted.
Check.
That's a big leap just to say, well, because one person wasn't responsible, you know. But I get what you're saying. Responsibility for others encourages a different point of view. I would agree with that, but it doesn't necessarily make you a man or anything different.
Neil needs to justify his manhood, though, so can you just not give him this?
That's not it. I'm just saying, I've been on both ends.
I agree. I see people without kids who never had to sacrifice anything. Yeah,
There you go.
they can be a little bit selfish, but, you know, that man or woman, same difference.
Yeah, well, there's a reason cats exist, you know what I mean?
What was one of the first commands God gave man and woman? Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. You're not doing that. You're not being obedient to God's instructions. You might as well go eat that fruit and line up with Satan.
Go out and spread your seed. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Not everywhere. There's got to be one. You choose your wife, which I believe God chooses it for you. You just enter into it.
Where was that? I didn't see that bit.
What bit?
About only having one time to spread your seed with one person.
Well, Adam and Eve. He didn't say anything after that. Then came the law with adultery.
They didn't have much choice. There was only two of them.
Yeah, well, don't forget. I'm not going to get into that. But it was different Adam and Eve. There was no. The earth was being established. People were being spread abroad. There was no incest like we know it today. But let's not get into that. It wasn't sin until it entered into the Ten Commandments.
So nobody sinned up until the burning bush.
No, I didn't say they didn't sin. We all sin. Right from the beginning, we sinned. But the earth had to be populated.
Yeah, but
And there was a time when it was.
They were given the commandments, would they? Sin is based on the commandments, is it not?
No, I'm talking about the reproduction of mankind. Like now, you got to figure for coming from Adam and Eve, there had to be intermarrying.
Yeah, it's only later on in the world that people decided you shouldn't sleep with your sister, brother, neighbor. Sorry, not neighbor, auntie and uncle. That was later.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a human concept. Apparently, the special people, royal people, they're allowed to interbreed because they're special.
Yes. I heard that when I was in school that there was that's what I was taught, that they intermarried. They married their cousins and even sisters. That's why there's a high rate of hemophilia in the royal family.
The things, but people tell you not to be like them. so that they can be special and you can be common.
When's the next installment of the book? When are we doing that again?
Probably today. Find out once Adam joins later.
Very good.
I was kind of hoping that the conversation would continue because it's the kind of thing that will unnerve transient ballers in the Discord server or in the public audience, right? This is where you do actually need fairly regular reminders that you can just join us while we're live. We are actually live right now.
What would unnerve them? Speaking about scriptures?
Well, just generally speaking about anything that's unrelated to Earth being flat, measured as such.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Are you unnerved, Globers?
I don't know if there's any in the Discord server. But
Well, is there anybody in Discord?
Well, it's a very casual day, is what I'm saying, right? For whatever reason, I know whatever reason, I've had a couple of weeks off, so therefore the live audience numbers have dropped. But that means that I'm just that much more laid back, right? Reset the camera position. I've got my wife strolling in, trying to figure out what's wrong with my left-hand channel, getting serial numbers off my desk while we're live. So it's all very casual and laid back here. But that means that I'm happy to keep the conversation casual and keep live, just to see if we invoke any, reactions from the live audience or reactions from anybody who currently is in Discord. You know what I mean? That is to say, we'll keep this live stream going just to see who toddles along, knowing what we're doing as we chat as FED. There's a good chance, your Bryans and your Adams and your Quantum Erasers will pop along, not necessarily realise that I'm, having a fun in, or whatever you would call it. What would you call it?
We call it just a casual chat because, and plus it's summer's right at the door. People are vacationing around this time, so it's a little bit of a lull. And plus, you took 9 weeks off.
No, I didn't take 9 weeks off. Well, you've got it exactly right. You've hit the tone I'm going to throw off. So earlier today, I was like, right, get ready to go to gymnastics to my eldest daughter, and my wife was like, no, it's half term. I'm like, what do you mean it's half term? I'm like, we homeschool our kids. There is no half term. She's like, no, for the gymnastics class, they just run on regular, they have a half term. I'm like, okay. But then you suddenly realise that you've got, enough time to not stress about the other two jobs that you do, like writing the book and flogging microphones in my case, right? So then when you're doing the bit you like, in this case, I'm sitting back and playing a bit of Fortnite. This is almost like time off. That's why it was amusing when Goat was asking me the other day. It was like, when we were talking about you not playing the video, you were just playing a bit of Fortnite. You're like, yeah, because I haven't got to run up the road with a delivery for somebody who's purchased a microphone. I haven't got to sit and pay attention to what Adam's saying about what's going in the book and what isn't, right? I've there's very little to stress about when I'm doing stuff that's this YouTube game, because it's second nature. Been doing it 10 years, so it's easy peasy. So I can actually enjoy a game of Fortnite, and it's almost like if my wife does stroll in, I could on mute go, any chance of a coffee? I don't know if could she she probably can't overhear me. I doubt she's listening.
Let me ask you a question. When you made a decision, go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to rewind. So Nathan's disappointed because you didn't get to go to gymnastics and put your leotard on.
No, it's not my gymnastics class. It's my eldest daughter who's got a gymnastics class normally this time of week.
Oh, that's funny. Let me ask you a question, Nathan. Wasn't that when you and your wife together, chose to homeschool your children, don't you feel it was the best decision you made?
I do. My wife, not necessarily, right? But when QE and the gang were talking about who wears the trousers, I definitely wear the trousers in this household. And therefore, my wife, who was more against it than I still won through. You know what I mean? Now we're into it, and she reads the forums of people moaning about the school that they're involved in and why they're not doing something with their kid. You're like, you contracted with them. My wife's all for the home educating our children now, because we see the other side of it, right, from other people our age. You hate their school.
Not only that, but when they get older, like when I hear my oldest son in conversation with his cousins who went to the greatest schools, and my son is more intelligent than him, and some of the stuff this other kid don't even know about, it's like, wow, homeschool really paid off.
I don't know about, it's not, I don't feel like I'm necessarily making Eleanor or Clover more intelligent. We just allow them to go with what they enjoy doing. So as a consequence, right, we've got two completely different sets of classes for each of the two kids because they're completely different in terms of what they like doing. So it's weird, you know, one of them is like got kung fu lessons and wants to kick ass.
Nice.
That's Clover. You know, whereas Eleanor's not at all like that. She's a complete pacifist. So, you know, she's not kung fu fighting, but she's got a different set of classes, you know, she's more of a drama queen. Anyway.
Well, that was one of my fears that night because I didn't know what homeschooling was and like how they're gonna, how you, because I thought my wife didn't even graduate high school, neither did I. I thought you had to have a degree to homeschool. Then I found out no, you just got to follow a curriculum. And my wife got educated along with them. You know, so I guess it was a fear of mine that they wouldn't be able to function in society, and I see that they are. So it's one of the best decisions I agreed to. I didn't make it. My wife decided to. So I was like, wait a second. Last night you were struggling to get him to do his homework, and now today you want to be a teacher? Okay, fine. Then it's on you. But it was good. Turned out to be good.
Yeah, I don't have no regrets, but my wife works extremely hard at homeschooling both our kids. And like I said to whoever it was that got us onto this subject, you just got to be there, right? And having some teacher that's paid to keep control of 30-odd kids, 30-plus kids, you know, they're not going to get really well educated in that time, are they? Whereas if they've got you and your ear for the majority of the day when you're telling them to keep their trap shut because you're doing a show, you know what I mean, though. For the majority of the day, just being there, being able to answer their questions. You know, I had to explain what a bruise was to Clover because she's got a big bruise from kung fuing, and I'm explaining it to her, and she's really receptive to it. And you're like, if she was at school and she was moaning about a bruise, I'd just tell her to shut up.
What is a bruise?
Sorry?
What is a bruise? You talking about a black and blue?
Yeah. Just load of broken blood vessels, right?
It's when your ego gets hurt.
Yeah, you got a lot of broken blood vessels in your ego. You got a bruised ego. That would be AI ego lord.
Is this something that's going to be an ongoing thing with you guys like moaning about AI now?
You just better fall in line, buddy, because
Me, I
you're
don't
being
have to do anything.
questioned.
No, I don't have to do anything, Neil. I'm good.
Yeah, well, you're being questioned.
Am I really? Couldn't give a crap. What's that?
Yes.
You were sending me. I found that it was a new message about banjo. So was it another? I don't know if it's just the same message or you sent me two messages that are both similar about different videos where banjo's suggesting I'm a Freemason.
Oh yeah. That I wasn't talking about that, but yeah, he said that. He said that over the airwaves on his YouTube channel. How he likes you, but you know you got to separate if you and you're sending a wrong message. So he thinks you're a Mason.
Okay. Well, I'm not.
No, I'm talking about particularly with AI Overlord. I mean, you got people here. You got a tight knit group here. You got guys that'll go to bat for you. So you need to take their back when necessary. And you didn't take Brian's back with that whole AI thing.
Ugh.
or Adams, for that matter. Adam was right there with it. That man will do anything for you, even go into the roughest parts of town where his life is in
Oh, here we
danger.
go.
Get a microphone for you and just ask him for a little loyalty. When you see something like that, you know, you're treating it more like it was. I understand in the beginning it was like, this is YouTube. It's not serious. But he made it serious, AI. Anyway, just trying to give you a little insight to how certain people feel.
Fair enough, Neil. Well, my plan's not exactly working out. I thought we'd be triggering somebody from the Discord server and we'd be having a flat Earth debate by now, but obviously not. Oh, don't mind, I'll carry on playing my game.
Well, Discord doesn't pipe up anymore. I don't know if they're afraid to speak. And we never hear from Discord. Let's go, Peanut Gallery. You got anything?
Clearly not.
You need guys like Dimmock over there. He'll stir stuff up. But I don't know where he's been lately. Maybe at politics? But who knows?
Well, we are live, so if you are watching this live, you can actually join this stream. So we're going to extend today's stream because it's midweek, and as I said earlier, we're very laid back at the moment, given that we're easing our way back into regular streaming after a couple of weeks off. So I don't mind doing what I did on the original shows, which is building that momentum back up, saying you can join the stream. This is the metaphorical equivalent, although it's not being done in silence. He says, with silence.
Well, they'll be coming
I had
along.
something to say.
There you
I'm
go.
Go ahead,
sorry.
man. Okay. No, I was just saying, I wish I had something to say. Go ahead, Mud.
No, I'm saying the other guys will be here. It's a little late. Brian will be strolling in soon. Adam is a very busy man. He's a pharmacist, so on his feet all day. He'll be strolling in soon. And of course, the Grand High Exalted Mystic Ruler will be here soon. He just get up a little later. So, but you're not going to get any ballers anymore, Nathan, if that's what you're saying. They won't come here. They're afraid. They'd rather congregate amongst themselves and stroke each other's egos.
I don't know, and I just, ballers are random. Everybody's a baller, Neil. This idea that ballers are this community of the anti-flat earthers. It's like, no, there's regular Joes, and there always will be. The fact that we exist at all means that we challenge the status quo. Therefore, there's always going to be somebody who hears us live and goes, I can't quite believe my ears. These people actually think the Earth's flat. They believe the Earth is flat.
Yeah, well, it's about challenging, isn't it? If somebody comes to you and challenges what you believe, are you going to back it up, or are you going to listen to what the other person's got to say?
You show me anything by this point, and you're like, this is about a globe, I can show you the flat part. So there's not much to debate anymore.
Yeah, the point, though, being is somebody's challenging something you believe. Do you accept and listen to their opinion, maybe have a chat about it, or do you just kick back straight away? Because obviously, some point you believed the Earth was round, and there came a point when somebody challenged that belief. How was your reaction?
What I heard was true. When I hear something that's true, it rings different than when you hear something that's false. It's that easy, kind of.
Yeah, it's still, well, I don't know. I have to check stuff out sometimes. I don't know if what's told to me is true or false sometimes. But you have to be have to be open to the thought first and foremost. Some people just get so wound up because you're challenging what they think that they'll never listen. And some people come back and start challenging you on what you're saying, and then you can have a debate.
Well, you're taking away a whole worldview. Because when my brother first said it to me, I became irate. And for 2 weeks, I badgered him, hit him with everything. What about NASA? What about satellites? What about the moon? What about this? What about that? What about the seasons? You know, because it's something like you can't like comprehend it at first, because I always thought everything I learned in school was truth. 2 plus 2 is 4, and the earth is a ball, right? So it puts into question everything I learned.
But up to that point, you never had the need to question it, did you? You didn't need to sit down and measure the ball in a round way. Nobody had ever questioned it. So nobody told you to think differently. So you just carried on normally. That's what I think the average person is. But then how they react to when somebody brings you new information.
Well, that's part of the indoctrination, right? Because why did I act like that? Why wasn't I just like, oh, really? Because remember, we were showing a picture of Christopher Columbus sailing and falling off the edge of the earth. And they was told that that's what they thought would happen when they thought Earth was flat. And everybody chuckled, Now that we know it's a sphere, we know that we could sail around it. And that's how America was discovered. So you're thinking everything you're learning in that classroom is fact.
Globe is just background knowledge.
Yeah, it's something they said that you didn't really comprehend, did you? Saw the pictures, you don't think I'm walking around a ball when you was walking down the street, did you?
No, and that's the thing that would get me, especially like when I became Christian and I heard of this thing called a rapture where Christ will come and the church will be taken out and, every eye will see him. It didn't make sense to me because I'm like, wait a second. If there's a rapture and we're on a ball and everybody's going to be taken up, some are going to be taken sideways and some are going to be taken down, because it wasn't making sense. North, south, east, and west compass wasn't making sense on a globe to me. The four directions and the 4 corners of the earth that's mentioned in the Bible wasn't making sense to me. So, and then going to the beach, going on a plane for the first time as an adult and looking out over Texas and how flat it was. So a lot of things weren't making sense to me. But then I just threw in the back like, yeah, but it's a ball. And so my brother said, well, you still think that Earth is a globe? This was, I think, 2016. I'm like, yeah, what do you think? And then he started telling me how Earth was flat. A lot of feast of nonsense came in after that. But, yeah, and then I resisted.
But you were a bit more open to those thoughts because you allowed them to keep coming back, didn't you?
Yeah. But then I started finding other channels. And then when David Weiss mentioned the guys from the other side of the pond, flat earth debate, how we couldn't get enough of it, then I started looking into what that was. And I found Nathan right away. Like when I Googled it, I found it, boom. And then I subscribed and I was just in the chat for years. It wasn't until, and that's when I've never heard it laid out like they would laying it out here, or how they were dealing with ballers like they were dealing with them over here on this particular platform. So I stood, and then when that whole thing happened with Nathan and Bob, I was like, yeah, this is the show here. Because he just went right at the biggest guy and told him what was what and didn't back down. So that was it. The deal was settled for me.
Well, I can't say the deal's settled because we haven't made any decisions. All we decided was we didn't live on a ball. That's why Feast of Nonsense stuff is quite interesting to listen, but it's just listening, just ponderings, isn't it?
And I mean, the deal was settled for me on what show I was going to stick around and listen in. And it wasn't Glowbusters. It was going to be Flat Earth Debate. Plus, back then, we was coming in with the scientific method, and I was learning stuff that I did not learn in school.
Learning means to repeat, just to copy, mimic. Doesn't mean people class as intelligence as something special. Well, that's just your ability to mimic somebody else. There's a better word for it than intelligence.
I didn't say intelligence. I'm just saying I was learning things that I never learned in school, maybe because I wasn't paying attention. Because I was a bit of a daydreamer in school. I don't know how I got past the first 5 years. But yeah, I was learning about scientific method. What is science and what isn't science? Because at that time I thought ether was a thing. I thought Nicholson-Morley was correct,
So, yeah, but what I'm saying was school doesn't encourage you to think, it encourages you to remember.
Yeah, but they did teach you scientific method.
They told you how to do an experiment. Did they explain why it was done that way?
I don't remember, but I know they taught it in school. Because I had science books. No, those are things you got to look up for yourself. Like, how did the scientific method? How was it established? When I started looking into that, I found out that it was philosophers that got together and they wanted an empirical method of knowing how to prove things in the natural world. That stuff you got to look into. Now, I don't know if that was taught in school.
It depends what level of. I think when I was at school, we had chemistry, biology, and physics. Which one of those would it come under? Probably mainly chemistry, I would have said. But we don't have that anymore. We just have science.
Okay, so Bible U Paula in chat says it was only written. It was only written in law with Moses. What we were talking about before. It was only put in writing as sin by Moses. Okay. As far as intermarrying.
What if you don't believe in sin?
Sin it's described as missing the mark. We miss the mark daily as far as comparing ourselves to a holy God. We miss the mark. It's just missing the mark. Right? Sin is sin. You can't deny that. You have an internal voice. letting you know what's right and wrong. And I know that's true because I remember as a kid, the first thing I ever stole a bag of potato chips. I knew it was wrong. You know?
All right, we're not going to trigger any
Very
ballers,
sin.
clearly. So, with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
And bringing it to yourself. There's a
Life or what? Did you say life or wife? I missed that.
wife.
Oh, you don't own anything. You can't own a person. That would be called slavery. So you're saying your wife.
Marriage is not owning. Marriage, you enter into a partnership. Right? You become one flesh.
So
Now,
why-
when that one flesh is violated by another man taking that man, yeah, he is now stealing that man's
Right.
wife.
You can't take or steal something you don't own.
It's not owning. I just said you become one flesh.
But then you can't take or steal.
Yeah, if you're in the jungle and you have a family and you have a wife and some other guy from a different tribe comes and takes your wife, he's committing adultery. He's coveting the next man's wife.
So what
He's
if you
coveting
can't?
his neighbor's wife, which is sin.
No, that would indicate ownership. He doesn't own her. She's an equal person.
If she went willingly, then they're both committing adultery. But if he just takes her, he is committing the sin.
Well, nobody could force anybody to do something against their free will.
Oh, so you're going to tell me there's no rape now?
No, I didn't know that.
If
That's
it
not a
comes
good word.
and takes
Hello?
her from the man,
Hello, don't use any of the bad words.
Yeah, don't use that.
change the subject. I can't get into this right now. I'm doing something anyway.
The subject's fine, it's just don't use that word.
Yeah. Nobody should be forced into doing something against their free will. The one thing I think that God gave everybody a free will. And that word that you said, yeah, that would be against their free will, wouldn't it?
Neil.
I'm on a hunt right now. Hold on. There's a couple of things I can't stomach, and that's when there's a fly in my house.
I'm glad we cleared that up. Right, I'll open the door to this hangout because I'm hoping that we'll be doing the book later. So I don't want to heed Adam getting in or QE getting in.
Yeah, leave the door open. Yeah, flies bother me because they land on shit and then they land on you.
Yeah, we're surrounded by flies and flat earth.
Exactly. I call them Beelzebub.
Guns of the Navarone was watching yesterday's show back as a member, Neil, and he commented on his own interruptions. Oh my god. So he was agreeing.
I don't think he hears. I think that there is a delay. So he starts talking and then you're talking and what did he say?
He said, I'll shut up or something like that. He's like, oh my god, I'm listening to myself back and yeah. Keep quiet, I won't do any more after shows or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said verbatim, but
No. It's not good though. We don't want him to not come.
no, he
It's got to
didn't
just
mean it like that.
stop for a few seconds.
He was just acknowledging his own interrupting this, and it just amused me because it was you that was calling you on it. Like, what the hell? Pot, kettle, hello?
No, I don't do that though.
Yeah, you do.
When I hear you, when I recognize that somebody else is talking, I stop. Demonstrated about 5 times today.
You've only got to get it wrong once. And it's normally when it's something critical that's going on that you'll get it wrong, and I'll have to point it out in an edit, and then I'll get frustrated. Or at least that was what I was doing when I had toothache. I'll put it in Master B. Go, look, Neil interrupting the bit where the guy says Earth's measured flat. My God.
Yeah, and you didn't mention when chocolate was doing it though.
Doesn't matter. It's just whoever's ruining that moment is still ruining that moment. That's often you. It's just how it is.
Sorry, back.
Yeah.
All good. Everyone
I
gets
did a
all
miss.
excited. They can taste the blood in the water. I get it.
You're saying the sharks are coming, circling?
Yeah. Well, as soon as somebody's come in, right, and asked us, oh, you guys think the Earth's flat? And then the conversation starts to go from there. That is the blood in the water, isn't it? Everyone else can taste it. Like, that's makes me feel all fuzzy. And everyone can't wait to get in their words as well. You know, I totally get it.
I like hippos better because sharks, I mean, you see them, they're intimidating, right? They'll scare the life out of you. I like hippos, they look calm, passive. You ever see them freaking things bite a watermelon or a pumpkin? So that's what I like us of this. Come into the water, it's nice and safe. We're just dumb flat earthers until you get bit.
No, I think sharks is better.
I see where you're going, Neil, with that. You're saying the hippos look like they're nice and peaceful, but they are known to be the worst killers of human beings, aren't they? More than lions and tigers.
Yeah, I mean, you see it. They look so calm, right? So peaceful, and they're like calm in the water, so it looks safe to go in. And we're that type. We're safe to go in because they're just dumb flat earthers until they get bit. Then they realize, and their whole worldview is crushed.
Maybe ultimately that's what it is. They're so scared that they don't have an answer to the questions anymore, that they just think, well, you know, we're on to a loser. Why would they even start?
Mm. Yeah. I can't believe you don't have hump day in Britain, where Wednesdays you acknowledge it as the middle of the week, and it's like a party day in New York City.
Hump day is the new Thursday, eh?
I thought humping was something different altogether.
Yeah, hump means something very different here.
Well, there's a week. It's you're getting over that hump because it's the middle of the 5-day work period, right? So you're right in the middle. You're getting over that hump. So what they do is they start labeling it that as hump day. So you have ladies' night after work. And everything's half price, right? The theaters are packed on Wednesday nights. Big night for eating and dining. I mean, eating and going to the theater in New York City.
Fair enough. Just not like that for us. Well, Neil didn't show up. Not Neil. Brian didn't show up. QE didn't show up. Adam didn't show up. Do you think they are going to do the book later? Did they mention anything about it, Neil?
I'm not sure. I don't think we mentioned it, but they'll come in. It's still early. It's 9:30. Q usually comes in after 10. All right.
Maybe.
Brian is. I don't know where Brian is. I sent him a message.
Super quiet, isn't it? Yeah, it would be good to get the book like rattling our way closer and closer to it. Now we're near the end because it's like literally just over the hump.
Yeah, it's quiet because it's bank holiday week. People are chilling on holiday, humping.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's a Memorial Day week for us here, but it actually ended on Monday. After Monday, that's it. Tuesday morning, everything is back to normal in the States as far as the vacation. I mean, it was a 4-day weekend. Tuesday, everything's back to normal.
Yeah, for us it's half term, so kids are off school, so presumably parents are tending to their little monsters.
You just call it half term. We call it spring break, midterm, right?
Maybe. No, because there's Easter break, right?
Yeah, that's spring break. Correct. We're in May now. Actually, summer starts in May in Alabama because school starts in August, not September. So everything's pushed up a month in Alabama.
Okay, so there's summers. Yeah, that would make sense. So it does kind of feel like it's getting summery. It's beyond springtime, I would say. It does feel that way. It's been spring a while. I know what you're driving at. Yeah,
This is
it's just a lull.
spring bank holiday, isn't it?
Yeah, spring bank holiday, yeah.
Although, yeah, you're right. June is the mark of summer, I think.
Yeah, New York, June was our summer. June 22nd was the end of school. But in Alabama, it's May 22nd is the end of school. So all the kids are out of school now. It's officially summer in Alabama.
Okay, cool. So all the kids have done their exams and stuff.
Yeah, they graduated because I'm right by the college here, Auburn University. Yeah, they all graduated freaking 2 weeks ago.
Ah, cool. Yeah, so life begins. You realise how pointless it all was. The quicker you can get to that point in your school career, the better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I should have went to college. I don't know. I thought I was going to be a rock and roll star. Dropped out of high school, had a band, and I thought I had the answers to everything.
Yeah, I just wanted a couple of kids. I'm quite content with life, Neil. I'm sure you are too. You're just a bit down in the mouth because you've been banned from driving around, and that's like narrowing your options, which is never a good thing when you feel like you're having your options narrowed. It's like being caged a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's putting me in a rut because I don't know what to do next. I mean, when I was a younger
Get
man,
over
it was
it!
different.
Be a man!
Yeah, but I am 60. I'm limited to certain things I could do physically. I can't
Well,
even
then
lift my left
accept
arm.
death! What are you moaning about?
I can't lift my left arm. I've done something where I can't even lift it. Even help my wife to get like a plate from somewhere that's higher in the
There you
closet.
go. That's doing something. Perfect.
No, I'm
Neil.
saying physically I can't. I would just listen.
No.
I just go
That's
out to
what
the
I'm
next
saying, Neil.
person
You're
and
not
start
listening.
doing flooring.
You don't get it. Saying, I can't do it. My arms, Gary. That's doing something.
No, but I mean, when I was a younger man, I just go to the next.
You've got it. Now you're really in the swing of it.
Neil, don't give old a bad name, please.
Well, it's different. I've chosen a trade that's physical, so it's full on me for thinking I'm going to be able to do this till I'm 70 years old. That's stupid.
It's not. It's nothing to do with age. You just need to.
Listen, when it comes to flooring, it has everything to do with age. a grueling freaking trade.
I can floor.
Putting flooring down.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, not 5 days a week, 7, 8 hours a day. When I was a younger man, no problem. Put it on. No, I could still work. Like when I'm in the city and I'm doing the work, I'm working with a crew. There's at least 15 guys on the job site. You don't get me getting that here.
Yeah, but don't you think they're a bit more demanding nowadays, aren't they? People want, when you work for somebody, they want more and more.
Not the guy I worked for. The guy I worked for was like, he had big accounts, so he did big commercial work. That's another thing. There's commercial work and there's residential. Residential's for the youngsters, dealing with people's furniture and putting carpeting or in their bedroom or tile in their kitchen. Nah, that's a younger man's gig. I can't do that. I mean, if I'm forced, I would do it, but I'd be a real bitchy bastard, man. I just physically, it's not doable anymore. Got to reinvent myself. So right now I'm in a rut, but I'll get out of it.
What about an assessor? If you know about flooring, why don't you become a flooring assessor?
Yeah, those jobs are usually you have to find a company that's just starting. Otherwise, they're all set. I mean, they're all established out here.
And that's why you create your own company. You use a company name. You don't use your own name. You use a company name. And then you can just offer whatever service you like.
There you go, Neil.
Yeah, it's over. Flooring's over.
Yeah, we'll just
Got
do
to
whatever
figure
you
something
like.
else out.
Whatever you like.
When somebody says to you, well, you're not suitable for the job, you say, well, what about this company? Would they suit? Well, the company always suits. We're crazy. We don't believe in people. But a company? So you could work for that company and they're not going to know any difference, are they?
Yeah, flooring's finished. The only time I'll do flooring now is if I go back to New York. I know the companies that I'm affiliated with. I can do some work there, but not here.
That's
Here
what
I
he's
have to
saying.
do something else.
You're not hearing him. He's saying you can be affiliated with a company where you are now.
What's that?
You can be affiliated with a company there, is what Craig's trying to explain to you. You're just not hearing him.
Nah, different type of work here. It's not the same.
Okay.
It's different. It's not. There's really no commercial areas here, and if there are, they're very small. New York's a big city. There's room for 50, 70 companies. Over here, there's not. You got a couple of them, and that's it. And if you want to do work, you need to have your own vehicle. You need to have your own crew, and they put you on. Now, if I want to get in there and assess jobs and go measure jobs, now you got to try and get in front of the 5 people that they have working there. I've been down that road. It's over. Flooring's over. Neil has to reinvent himself to do something else.
Dealings?
Okay.
Just in a rut right now, so I'm just like freaking being very lazy. Oh, God. Plus, my body's always in pain. I don't know what the hell happened. It's like I got old in 1 year.
You keep blaming age.
Yeah, don't blame age. Blame the heroin.
That's a big part of it, Nathan.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
20 years of it. I wasted a lot of years away. I take that on. I know that. But no, it is age. I mean, come on. There's a reason why younger men, you're gonna get ailments when you're older. Your knees are gonna go. Entropy, baby, entropy.
I had ailments when I was younger. I don't get them now. It's often.
What do you do for a living, Greg?
You know, I stand all day in a shop.
That's hard standing.
What?
But the standing part is hard, but you could sit if you want to, right?
No, I choose not to. I'm quite happy. I get up in the morning. I don't really sit down till about 8 o'clock at night.
Because there's no chairs
Yeah.
there.
Well, yeah, we removed a lot of the chairs because we never used them. They just get in the way.
How old are you?
Same as you.
Yeah, but you're not. It's the physical part is different than the physical part that I do as far as work. Very different.
Well, and imagine flooring's quite, pulling it up, putting it down. But I don't know. As you say, it's about speed. If you have to do it fast, then it could be a bit trickier.
Now, you're on your knees all day. You're crawling around like a dog. Sometimes I bark. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm crawling on my fucking knees like a dog.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still recording. Sorry.
I will round out shortly.
No, I just think it's a state of mind as well. You got to figure out. I mean, you are a God person. I say that in the nicest fashion. So you believe that God made you in his own image and he made your body able to fix itself. He didn't say you weren't going to age, but it does.
Ain't gonna stop entropy, my friends. We are in a constant state of decay. Right, Nathan?
Me, no. I'm going to live forever.
That's what I thought when I was 40. Now I have to get back into things. First of all, I gotta start hitting the gym again. I gotta start working out. I gotta get my body going. I always used to work out. So instead of driving my sons to the gym, I need to go in the door with them.
Just remember, if it's easy, don't do it. Satisfaction's only gained by effort.
Wonder where the heck everybody is today.
Enjoying the half term.
Humping.
I'm big on hump day. It's funny because we use that as a slang. Like, I'll call you a freaking hump. We'll call somebody a hump.
Quick question. So I was thinking today, was having a conversation about being in that pretend place called space, and the fact that the depiction is that when you're in this place where there's not much particles in the area around you, that you would explode, like eyes pop out and that sort of thing. Where does that come from?
Aliens and Aliens 2.
Yeah, because you're in what do you call it? Where are we in space? What do they consider that? 10 to the negative what? 17.4 or something?
Yeah, but the air in my body is contained within my body, other than through my mouth, obviously.
Yeah, but if you went, because they're saying that that's a vacuum above us.
Yeah, it's not a vacuum like you use a Hoover vacuum cleaner. It's not the same thing. It's just lesser dense air.
I don't know. Them spacemen have to wear them suits, otherwise they'll explode. That's what I seen on the telly.
So what does the spacesuit do? Contain the air that's in the spacesuit?
I guess the spacesuit is equivalent to Earth, the pressure that we're on at Earth, right? I don't know how it freaking works.
I can say.
Well, that disgruntled Danny said that the gases of the container, right?
Yeah.
So in the spacesuit scenario, Don't really need the suit. I mean, the gases themselves can be the suit, right? So, Emperor's New Clothes have Atmo suit, right? Gases are
Atmos
the
suit.
container. Well, the gases are the container.
Uh, that's funny. Atmos suit. Now, who said that?
Me, just then.
No, you said Danny yesterday?
He didn't say Atmo suit.
No, I know you said Atmos suit, but Danny said that the air is the container, right?
Yeah, Danny said that, yeah.
I had to miss that. I came in late yesterday. I'm going to have to listen to the Uncut and After show.
We didn't cover that. Yesterday was Tiny Tim. Yeah? You know Tiny Tim? Talking like
Right.
a little kid.
Oh, that's right.
I won't even attempt
Uh-huh.
it. I know my limits.
Get my days confused. So, Nathan,
Yes.
I'm going to show you something. I'm going to read this to you. Tell me what you think of this cat.
Well, I think it's what? Cat.
Yeah, what you think of what this guy is saying. Because I don't know why he's even freaking sending me messages.
And then let's hear it.
Okay. Where is that little prick?
Well, now you've poisoned the well, haven't you?
Well, what the heck was that? Okay, here we go. Oh no! What did I do? Oh, come on. You're a freaking idiot. Oh, God. Can't find it, sorry.
Well, rather than looking for it, give me a brief overview of what you were going to show or read.
The elder bear saying that, oh, that's what he started out with. Nathan's not a Christian. AJ from politics is putting together a room for or a server for Muslims. And then he has a bunch of dollar signs. And then he says, don't say I didn't warn you. I'm like, what the hell is this all about? This guy even talking about?
Yeah, I do vaguely remember you mentioning it earlier. But Edibear's a shit stirrer, Neil.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there
I
you
know
go.
that. But I always find it funny how people warn me about you. It started right away. Who was the first one? The first one was, what was that person's name that always that said you had perfect globe proof, and they sent me all the stuff that you were hiding, the fact that you knew it was a globe and you're only doing this for the money. Well, if you're doing it for the money, you'll be a baller.
Doing it for the big bucks.
Yeah, who is that person? Something cat.
Oh, Cat Earth.
Yeah, something to that effect. They had the perfect that you were holding the perfect globe proof conversation you had with Anthony. But that's how you know you're on the target. You know, you're over the target. Like I was saying, why are these people trying to deter me from getting plugged into flat Earth debate? Very strange to me. Strangers are warning me.
I hate to talk work, but Nathan, I need to figure out which way around you want this plug-in. And did you get my message about motherboard?
Plug in what?
This 5-pin DIN. What about the wiring do I need to change? I watched the video and I'm not sure which way around you need to be.
Oh, you watched the video. And I don't know. What I'll do is I'll go through the video. There's a bit in the video where he shows the difference between the two pinouts. So I'll dig that out.
Yeah, he says there's two ways of wiring it, and I wasn't sure pretty much which way you wanted it wired.
The audio way. So the way he's describing, one is lighting, and the other is the way I want it, which is audio.
For like as if you were using the MIDI jack.
Yeah, so it's he's got it. The end result is a balanced output, right? Audio balanced. Make sense?
That's what yeah, it starts on that, and then he talks about an alternative way, and then he also talks about another way. So it actually covers, depending on what you're plugging it in. I know the lighting way, which is totally irrelevant, but he starts with one way and finishes on another.
Okay. So he's done a terrible job of editing it. It makes no sense.
Well, I'm not sure which way round you want it, how he starts or how he finishes.
Okay, I'll have to have a look and figure it out.
Did you see the prices on the motherboards?
On the motherboards? That's the bit that's completely confusing me. What do you mean on the motherboards?
I sent you a Teams earlier.
Oh, my kid's computer. Is it dead?
Yeah, it seems the board's dead, but I bought a board, but I sent you a horrific Lenovo pricing structure for the boards.
How much is the board?
For you, it's going to be £80.
That's fine.
But it's a better board. But that same board from Lenovo today would cost you £900.
It's ludicrous. Fair enough. I mean, what I was going to suggest, if it was dead and there was no alternative to fix it, was just get another one for a similar amount of money, which was a couple of £100 from memory. That's what I thought was the alternative. So if there's an £80 alternative that involves that particular machine, then that's better. That's half as much as I was expecting to pay, because I thought it was dead. It seemed dead.
Feels like a BIOS update went wrong. But anyway, this new board's got i7 16 gig of RAM instead of i5 8 gig.
Oh, cool. So she's getting an upgrade.
Oh, yes.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, cool. Marvellous.
Oh, and the final thing, Curry Friday, if you're up for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I've not heard from anybody else yet, but I have put it out there. So, and yes, Neil, of course you're invited.
I found it. Are you ready for it, Nathan?
Oh, he's found his thing. Go for it.
Elder Bear. I had a word with the Globe leader, asked if the Globers can just not turn up for your show. Thought it was better for the community. Did you ask AJ what he is doing, having a room in Islamic server and recruiting new Muslim blood to the 24/7 Discord? Neil, I don't know if Nathan is looking for new places to go and spread the message. There is 24/7 FE room on the Islam server that AJ has set up to bring more Muslims into the arena. Thought you might want to share it with you guys.
So what's the problem?
Then he says, don't ever say the next message is don't ever say I did not warn you, okay? As much as you like to hate me, I told you so, okay, question mark. Did AJ not tell you what he is up to, question mark? Cultivating the Muslim community? He is the mod in Oakley's pocket. Ask yourself, who do you think profits from it? He's got a bunch of dollar signs. Oakley isn't a Christian. Now, why would you send me this message?
Oh,
What's the
sorry, it
point?
suddenly dawned on me. Right, because it's Muslim, therefore not Christian. It's sorry, a bit slow on the uptake. Yeah, okay, this is very sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck it is.
You got anything against me being a devout Muslim, Neil?
No, I'd say you're sincerely wrong. If you were, but I know you're not.
Allah forgives you.
Didn't you know that Muslims are the same as Christians once upon a time? That's why their books follow each other pretty much the same. They just use different words.
Did you ever try to read
In a sort of
the Quran?
gingers and blacks are the same sort of way.
No, the Quran does not even flow. It's totally false.
Don't start.
Jesus takes the back seat to Muhammad. Oh, what's the matter? It's offending your Muslim way, Nathan?
Yes, yes.
My grandmother used to say, don't ever talk about politics or religion at the dinner table.
But that's only if you consider that the New Testament's real. There are people who don't believe in the New Testament, isn't there?
Oh, that's their problem. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm a full believer in the Word of God, from Genesis to Revelation.
Okie dokie. So you come in for some curried mutton? No, curried goat. That was the one.
What I want you to do is, I want you to at least take a picture of the dishes so I could see them. Because I'm curious to see what type of curry you have over there.
Oh, it's not going to be sort of that type of. We're a bit wussy over in England. We like everything nice and mushed up and not have to chew too much.
Well, we have it like the way my wife makes it. Let's take the curry chicken. They cut up chicken, saute it up, then they start putting the curry powder and masala with onions, garlic in the pan, and that starts cooking up. And then she adds the chicken with water and cooks that up. My wife makes the potatoes on the side so they don't get too mushed up. And then later on, she'll add it to the chicken curry. And then we'll have that over rice. Now, my wife eats it with a hand. I still use a fork. Like they scoop the rice with their hand, dip it in the curry, and that's how they eat it. Now, I'll eat it with my hand when I have it with roti. Do you have roti over there?
Yeah, that's we're talking like a bit of bread, flat bread.
Yeah, it's real flat. You scoop. Like if we just have chicken curry with roti, then I just have the roti and I scoop it. You have to eat it with your hand. And you eat it all like that. But even when it's over rice, my wife eats it with her hand. But she mushes it all together. feel like it's mush. But it's a different type. It's definitely different than what you guys have there. You have more Indian curry as opposed to Guyanese curry.
Yeah. Well, I think I put it down as a British curry. Everything's sugared up, and it's all pretty. I mean, not like a traditional Indian curry. I mean, when you look at the ingredients, we don't want anything too chewy in there, or we can't have skin, or although they just blend it down to this fineness most of the time.
Take a snapshot anyway.
I will do, yeah. Well, I could just send you I'll send you to a website. Let me see if I find the website.
Yeah, there you go. You got the chicken tiki, chicken masala. You got the they have a butter chicken too. Lamb over rice. Those are halal guys. You see lines of people in New York City on I think it's 60th Street and 6th Avenue. Lines of people.
Sounds good. Back in a minute.
Right, no one's coming. I'm going to round out. And I died in Fortnite. So with that, another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.